What would you do if, after a wild night out, you came home to find your husband serving you divorce papers? Can a single impulsive act truly destroy a marriage, or is it the unraveling of secrets that follows which seals your fate? Here's how one kiss and a cruel challenge led to the end I never saw coming. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible stories. The bass thumped through my chest as I swayed on the crowded dance floor, my third cosmopolitan, making everything feel electric and alive. This was exactly what I needed after another week of Tom's suffocating routine. Work, dinner, Maya's homework, bedtime stories, repeat. God, when did my life become so predictable? "Leo, you're glowing tonight," shouted Jessica over the music, her blonde hair catching the strobing lights. "I haven't seen you this happy in months," I laughed, spinning around with my arms raised. At 32, I still had it. The tight black dress hugged my curves perfectly, and I could feel eyes on me from across the club. This was the real me, not the boring suburban mom Tom wanted me to be. "That's because I finally escaped prison for the night," I called back, earning giggles from my girlfriends. "Tom thinks I should be home folding laundry and watching Netflix. Can you believe that?" My phone buzzed in my purse. I ignored it, but it buzzed again, and again. "Ugh, probably Tom checking up on me," I muttered, fishing out my phone. 3 texts. Tom: "Hey babe, Maya's asking for you." "Bedtime story?" Tom: "Everything okay? You said you'd be home by 11. Tom: "Leo? It's almost midnight." I rolled my eyes and showed the screen to Jessica and our friend Amanda. "See what I mean? He's so controlling. Maya's 6 years old. She doesn't need mommy for every little thing." "That's so toxic," Amanda agreed, sipping her drink. "My ex used to do that too." "You deserve to have fun, Leo," I typed back quickly. "Out with girls." "Maya will be fine. Stop being paranoid." The response came immediately. "Just worried about you. Love you." "Ugh, he's guilt-tripping me now," I announced, shoving my phone back into my purse. He knew I was going out tonight. This is exactly why I need these breaks from him. That's when I noticed him. Tall, dark-haired, probably late 20s, with the kind of confident smile that made my stomach flutter. He was working behind the bar, but kept glancing my way. When our eyes met, he winked. "Oh my God, Leo, that bartender is totally checking you out," Jessica squealed. "His name's Eli," Amanda said. "I talked to him earlier. He's gorgeous and single." My heart raced. When was the last time someone that attractive had looked at me like that? Tom used to, years ago, before we got trapped in the suburban parent routine. Now he barely looked up from his laptop most nights. "I'm married," I said, but my voice lacked conviction. "So? You're just having fun. It's not like you're doing anything wrong," Jessica laughed. "Besides, Tom clearly doesn't appreciate what he has." The alcohol made everything feel possible, exciting. I found myself walking toward the bar, my friends cheering behind me. Eli smiled as I approached. "What can I get you, beautiful?" His voice was smooth, confident. "Surprise me," I said, leaning against the bar. "I'm Leo." "Eli, and you're definitely the most stunning woman in here tonight." Heat flushed through me. When was the last time Tom had called me stunning? I couldn't remember. "My friends dared me to come talk to you," I lied, enjoying the flirtation. "Smart friends. What else did they dare you to do?" Before I could think, Jessica appeared beside me, phone in hand. "They dared her to dance with you. Come on, Leo, live a little." The next thing I knew, Eli had someone cover his shift and was leading me onto the dance floor. His hands found my waist as we moved to the music, and I felt alive in a way I hadn't in years. This was what I'd been missing: excitement, passion, feeling desired. "Your husband's a lucky man," Eli murmured in my ear. "He doesn't seem to think so lately," I replied, surprised by my honesty. "Then he's an idiot." The song changed to something slower, more intimate. Eli pulled me closer, his hand sliding down to rest on my lower back. I should have stepped away. I should have remembered Tom at home with Maya. Instead, I melted into him. "You're incredible," he whispered. That's when it happened. He leaned down, and I didn't pull away. His lips met mine, soft at first, then more insistent. For a moment, everything else disappeared. The club, the music, my guilt. There was only this feeling of being wanted, desired, alive. "Oh my God, Leo," Jessica's voice cut through my haze. That was so hot. I jerked away from Eli, suddenly aware of what I'd done. But instead of guilt, I felt defiant. Why shouldn't I feel good about myself? Why shouldn't someone want me? "Did you get that on video?" Amanda laughed, waving her phone. My blood ran cold. "What?" "I recorded it. You two looked amazing together. So passionate." "Delete it," I said quickly, but Amanda was already showing it to Jessica. "This is so going in our group chat," Jessica giggled. "The girls are going to die." "No, seriously, delete it," I insisted. But they were both drunk and giddy, not listening. Eli squeezed my hand. "Hey, you okay? You look pale." "I'm married," I said, the reality crashing down. He shrugged. "It was just a kiss. No big deal, right?" Just a kiss. He was right. It wasn't like we'd slept together or anything. It was innocent fun, the kind of excitement every woman deserved to feel sometimes. Tom was overreacting in advance, just like he always did. My phone buzzed again. More texts from Tom, probably more guilt trips about coming home. I turned it off without reading them. "You're right," I told Eli. "Just a kiss." But as I watched Jessica and Amanda giggling over the video, uploading it to our group chat with the caption, "Leo living her best life," a small voice in my head whispered that this might not end as simply as I hoped. I pushed the thought away. I deserved this night. I deserved to feel beautiful and wanted. If Tom couldn't handle his wife having a little harmless fun, that was his problem, not mine. The next morning hit me like a freight train. My head pounded from the cosmopolitans, and the bright sunlight streaming through our bedroom curtains felt like daggers in my eyes. Tom's side of the bed was already empty. He was probably downstairs making breakfast for Maya, playing the perfect father as usual. I stumbled to the bathroom, catching a glimpse of myself in the mirror. Last night's makeup was smeared, my hair a tangled mess. For a moment, I remembered Eli's hands in that hair, his lips on mine, and felt a flutter of excitement before the guilt crashed in. No, not guilt. I pushed that feeling away. I had nothing to feel guilty about. It was just a kiss, a moment of feeling alive and desired. Every woman deserved that. Downstairs, I found Tom at the kitchen table with Maya, helping her with a coloring book. He looked up when I entered, and something in his expression made my stomach clench. "Mommy!" Maya ran to me, wrapping her arms around my legs. "Daddy made pancakes." "That's nice, sweetheart," I managed, avoiding Tom's eyes. "Did you sleep well?" "I had a bad dream, but Daddy said you were having fun with your friends." Tom stood slowly, his jaw tight. "Maya, why don't you go watch cartoons in the living room? Mommy and I need to talk." My daughter skipped away, oblivious to the tension crackling between her parents. Tom waited until she was out of earshot before pulling out his phone. "Want to explain this?" My blood turned to ice. On his screen was the video. Me and Eli on the dance floor, his hands on my body, our lips locked in passionate embrace. The timestamp showed 12:47 a.m. "Where did you get that?" I whispered. Jessica sent it to the girls' group chat. Apparently, someone thought it was hilarious and forwarded it to me. His voice was deadly calm, which somehow made it worse than if he'd been screaming. I straightened my spine, forcing confidence I didn't feel. "It was just a dare, Tom. The girls were having fun, and I—" "A dare?" His voice cracked. "You kissed another man because of a dare." "It didn't mean anything. God, you're acting like I had an affair. It was one stupid kiss at a club. I was drunk and what? That makes it okay. He stepped closer, and I could see the hurt in his eyes. Leo, we're married. We have a daughter. How could I what? Have a little fun for once in my life? The words poured out before I could stop them. Do you know how suffocating this marriage has become? Work, home, Maya, repeat. I'm 32 years old, Tom, not some old housewife who's supposed to be grateful for grocery shopping and laundry. He stared at me like I'd slapped him. Suffocating. Our marriage is suffocating. Yes. When was the last time you made me feel beautiful? When was the last time we did anything spontaneous or exciting? You've turned us into this boring suburban cliché, and I'm dying inside. So you decided to make out with a stranger in public? It was just a kiss, I shouted, then lowered my voice as Maya's cartoon paused in the next room. You're blowing this completely out of proportion. Nothing happened. I came home to you, didn't I? Tom's laugh was bitter. You came home at 3 a.m, Leo. 3. Maya cried for an hour because you weren't here for her bedtime story like you promised. She's 6. She doesn't need me for every little thing. She's our daughter, and she needed her mother, but you were too busy kissing bartenders to care. The accusation stung because it held a grain of truth I wasn't ready to face. Instead, I went on the offensive. You know what? I'm not apologizing for having one night of fun. I'm not apologizing for feeling attractive and desired for the first time in months. If you can't handle your wife being a real woman instead of some domestic robot, then maybe what? Maybe you should divorce me. The words exploded out of me, fueled by hangover irritation and defensive anger. If you don't like it, divorce me. See how well you do finding someone else who'll put up with your boring, controlling bullshit. The silence that followed was deafening. Tom stared at me with an expression I'd never seen before. Not just hurt, but something colder. Calculating. Okay, he said quietly. Okay what? Okay, I'll think about it. He turned and walked toward the stairs, leaving me standing in the kitchen with my mouth hanging open. That wasn't how this was supposed to go. He was supposed to apologize for overreacting, maybe acknowledge that he'd been taking me for granted. We were supposed to have makeup sex and move on. Tom, wait. But he was already upstairs. I heard our bedroom door close with a soft click that somehow felt more final than if he'd slammed it. My phone buzzed with a text from my mother. How was girls' night, honey? Hope you had fun. Before I could respond, another message popped up, this one from Tom's mother, Paula. Leo, we need to talk. I saw the video. My stomach dropped. If Paula had seen it, that meant it was spreading beyond our friend group. How many people had Jessica sent it to? How many others had forwarded it? I typed back quickly. It was just harmless fun. Tom's overreacting. Paula's response was immediate. Harmless? You're a married woman with a child. This is disgraceful. The self-righteous tone made my blood boil. Paula had never liked me, always thought Tom could do better. This was probably her dream come true. Evidence that I wasn't good enough for her precious son. Mind your own business, Paula. My marriage is between Tom and me. Not when you're humiliating my son in public. That poor man deserves better. I turned off my phone before I could type something I'd regret. This was exactly what I'd been afraid of. Everyone ganging up on me, making me the villain for one moment of feeling alive. Upstairs, I could hear Tom on the phone, his voice too low to make out words. Probably calling his parents, getting them to gang up on me too. Or maybe calling in sick to work so he could play the wounded husband all day. Maya appeared in the doorway, her face scrunched with worry. Mummy, why did Daddy look sad? I knelt down and pulled her into a hug, breathing in her sweet little girl scent. Daddy's just having a hard day, sweetheart. Sometimes grown-ups get upset about silly things. Are you and Daddy fighting? No, baby. We're just talking through some things. Everything's going to be fine. But as I held my daughter and listened to Tom's muffled voice upstairs, making what sounded like very serious phone calls, I wondered if I'd just made the biggest mistake of my life. Monday morning at work felt like walking into a minefield. I'd barely settled at my desk when I noticed the whispers starting, heads turning my way, then quickly looking away when I made eye contact. My stomach churned as I realized the video had spread further than I'd imagined. Leo, my coworker Sarah approached with a concerned expression that didn't quite hide her curiosity. Are you okay? I saw, well, everyone's been talking about what? I tried to sound casual, but my voice came out strained. The video from Saturday night, someone posted it on Facebook, and it's been shared like crazy. Girl, what were you thinking? My blood ran cold. Facebook? That meant it wasn't just our friend group anymore. It was public, searchable, permanent. Anyone could see it now. It was just harmless fun, I said, the words feeling hollow. People are making a big deal out of nothing. Sarah's eyebrows shot up. Nothing? Leo, you're married. That video shows you making out with some guy who definitely isn't Tom. People are saying, I don't care what people are saying, I snapped, then immediately regretted my tone. Look, it was one stupid kiss. I was drunk, it didn't mean anything, and my husband is completely overreacting. But Sarah was already backing away, clearly uncomfortable with my defensive response. Okay, well, just wanted to make sure you're all right. Maybe you should talk to HR about getting the video taken down. The thought hadn't occurred to me. Could I do that? Make it disappear somehow? I spent my lunch break frantically searching Facebook, finding the video posted on 3 different pages with hundreds of shares and comments. The comments were brutal. What a slut. Poor husband. This is why I don't trust married women at clubs. Someone should show this to her workplace. Would you want this person handling your business? That poor little girl having a mother like this. The last comment made me physically sick. They were talking about Maya, my sweet innocent daughter who had nothing to do with any of this. I reported the posts, but Facebook's response was that they didn't violate community standards. By Tuesday, my supervisor called me into her office. Margaret Chen was a stern woman in her 50s who'd never liked my casual approach to office politics. Leo, I'm sure you're aware that a video of you has been circulating on social media, she began, her tone professionally neutral, but her disapproval clear. It's my personal life, I said quickly. What I do on my own time has nothing to do with my work performance. Normally, I'd agree. However, when that personal life becomes public in a way that reflects poorly on our company, it becomes my concern. Several clients have mentioned seeing the video, and frankly, it's unprofessional. They can't fire me for kissing someone, I protested. No, but I can document this conversation and suggest you be more mindful of how your actions might affect your professional reputation. Consider this a friendly warning. The humiliation burned in my chest. I'd worked here for 4 years, built relationships, earned respect. Now these people were looking at me like I was some kind of home-wrecking slut over one meaningless kiss. That evening, I tried calling Tom to vent about the unfairness of it all, but he didn't answer. He'd been giving me the silent treatment since Sunday, speaking only when necessary and sleeping in the guest room. Every attempt at conversation was met with cold politeness that hurt worse than yelling would have. My mother called while I was heating up leftover pizza for Maya's dinner. Honey, I'm worried about you, Renata said without preamble. Paula Vane called me today, going on and on about some video. She was very upset. Mom, it's complicated. She said you kissed another man at a club. Leo, please tell me that's not true. I closed my eyes, exhaustion weighing me down. It was just one kiss. I was drunk. It didn't mean anything, and now everyone's acting like I committed murder. Oh, sweetheart. My mother's voice softened. I understand. Marriage is hard, especially when you have a young child. Sometimes we need to feel attractive and desired. Tom should be more understanding. Relief flooded through me. Finally, someone who got it. Exactly. He's been so distant lately, so focused on work and Maya that he barely notices me anymore. One night out, one moment of feeling beautiful, and he's acting like I betrayed him. Men can be so fragile about these things, Mom agreed. Their egos get bruised and they lash out. But Paula was talking about lawyers, honey. You need to be smart about this. Lawyers? My stomach dropped. What do you mean, lawyers? She mentioned Tom consulting someone about his options. I think she was just trying to scare me, but maybe you should think about protecting yourself. Just in case. After hanging up, I sat in my kitchen staring at the cold pizza, my appetite gone. Tom was talking to lawyers. Over a kiss. The man I'd married 7 years ago wouldn't have been so dramatic, so vindictive. But then again, the man I'd married used to look at me like I hung the moon, used to surprise me with flowers and weekend getaways. When had we become these strangers living in the same house? Maya wandered in, her homework finished. Mummy, can we call Daddy? I want to show him my math worksheet. Daddy's working late tonight, baby, I lied, not wanting to explain why he was deliberately avoiding us. He's been working late a lot, she said, her 6-year-old intuition picking up on the tension. Is he mad at us? No, sweetheart, Daddy's not mad at you, never at you. But as I tucked Maya into bed that night, and she asked again when Daddy would be home, I realized that my one moment of rebellion might have consequences I'd never imagined. The video wasn't going away. The whispers at work weren't stopping, and Tom's silence felt less like hurt and more like planning. I tried to push down the growing panic. It was just a kiss. People were overreacting. Tom would calm down, realize he was being ridiculous, and we'd work through this like adults. We had Maya to think about. But as I lay alone in our king-sized bed, listening to the house settle around me, I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd set something in motion that was spiraling far beyond my control. The family meeting was Paula's idea, of course. She'd called Wednesday morning with that fake sweet tone she used when she was about to steamroll everyone into doing what she wanted. I think we need to sit down as a family and discuss the situation, she'd said, for Maya's sake, if nothing else. I wanted to refuse, but Tom had already agreed, and I couldn't look like the unreasonable one. So Friday evening found me sitting in Paula and Jerry's pristine living room, feeling like a defendant awaiting trial. My parents had driven down from Portland, my mother immediately taking my side, while my father sat quietly in his usual conflict-avoidant mode. Paula bustled around serving coffee and homemade cookies, playing the perfect hostess while shooting disapproving glances my way. "Where's Tom?" I asked, checking my watch. He was 20 minutes late. "He'll be here," Paula said firmly. "He had some errands to run first." Maya was at a sleepover with her best friend Emma, thank God. At least she wouldn't have to witness whatever confrontation was brewing. When Tom finally arrived, something about him seemed different. Calmer, more resolved. He kissed his mother's cheek, nodded politely to my parents, and sat in the chair farthest from me. "Thank you all for coming," Paula began, settling into her role as family matriarch. "I think we can all agree that this situation has gotten out of hand. Leo, I want you to know that we're here because we care about this family, not to attack you." "Could have fooled me," I muttered, earning a sharp look from my mother. "The video has been very embarrassing for all of us," Paula continued. "But what concerns me most is how this affects Maya. That little girl doesn't deserve to have her family torn apart because of one night of poor judgment." "Poor judgment?" The words exploded out of me. "I kissed someone. I didn't rob a bank or commit murder. Everyone's acting like I'm some kind of monster." "You're a married woman," Paula said coldly. "You took vows. You have responsibilities." "And I've been fulfilling them for 7 years," I shot back. 7 years of cooking and cleaning and carpools, and being the perfect little wife while Tom works late and ignores me. One night, I felt attractive and alive, and now I'm being crucified for it. "Leo," my mother said gently, "maybe you should explain to Tom how you've been feeling. Communication is so important in marriage." I turned to Tom, who'd been silent through the entire exchange. "I've tried to talk to you. You won't even look at me anymore. You're sleeping in the guest room. You won't answer my calls. How are we supposed to communicate when you've shut me out? Tom finally spoke, his voice eerily calm. I've been thinking a lot this week, Leo. About us, about what you said, about what you want. Good, I said, relief flooding through me. Because I want to work this out. I want us to be happy again. The thing is, he continued, I don't think you do. I think you want to be single. You want the excitement of being pursued by other men, the thrill of not having responsibilities. And maybe that's fair. Maybe you got married too young, settled down before you were ready. Tom, no, that's not. Let me finish. His tone was still calm, but there was steel underneath. You told me to divorce you if I didn't like it. You said I was boring and controlling. You called our marriage suffocating. I was angry. I didn't mean. I think you did mean it, and I think you're right. The room went silent. Even Paula looked shocked. What are you saying? I whispered. Tom reached into his jacket and pulled out a manila folder. I'm saying I've spent the week consulting with a divorce attorney. I'm saying I think you'll be happier if you get what you asked for. Tom, honey, Paula said carefully, maybe we should discuss this privately first. No, Mom. Leo wanted to handle this like adults, so let's handle it like adults. He opened the folder and pulled out several documents. I'm filing for divorce. I'm also requesting primary custody of Maya. You can't do that. I jumped to my feet, panic clawing at my throat. You can't take my daughter away from me. I'm not taking her away. I'm providing her with a stable home environment. Stable? I'm her mother. You're also someone who thinks kissing strangers in clubs is appropriate behavior for a married woman with a child. My mother stood up, her face flushed. Now wait just a minute. Leo made a mistake, but she's a good mother. You can't punish her by taking Maya. I'm not punishing anyone, Tom said. I'm protecting my daughter from the chaos Leo seems determined to create. Chaos? I was shaking now. What chaos? It was one kiss. It was one kiss that you've shown no remorse for. One kiss you've spent the week defending and justifying. One kiss you told me to divorce you over rather than apologize for. Jerry cleared his throat. Son, maybe you're being a bit hasty. Marriage counseling might... Dad, she told me our marriage was suffocating. She said if I didn't like her kissing other men, I should divorce her. She's made her position very clear. I stared at him, seeing a stranger where my husband used to be. This wasn't the Tom I'd married. That man would have fought for us, would have been willing to work through problems. This version was cold, calculated, final. You're really going to destroy our family over this? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. I'm not destroying anything, Leo. I'm accepting what you've already decided. You want excitement, freedom, the single life. Now you can have it. And Maya? Maya needs stability. She needs a parent who puts her first, not someone who stays out until 3 a.m. making out with bartenders. The accusation hit like a physical blow. I've never put anything before Maya, except your need to feel desired by strangers. Tom, Paula said carefully, are you sure about this? It's a big step. He nodded, his jaw set. I've got all the documentation I need. The video, the text messages, the social media posts, where Leo's been defending her actions. My lawyer says it's pretty straightforward. What social media posts? I asked, confused. Tom pulled out his phone and scrolled through screenshots. Your Facebook comments about how one kiss isn't cheating and how I'm controlling and jealous. Your Instagram story about living your truth and not letting insecure men hold you back. Should I continue? I'd forgotten about those posts, made in anger when people had criticized me online. They looked terrible now, taken out of context. Those were just, I was defending myself. You were making it clear that you don't consider what you did wrong, and that you think I'm the problem for being upset about it. My father finally spoke up. Maybe everyone should take a step back here. These are big decisions being made in anger. I'm not angry, Tom said. I'm done. Leo wants a different life, and I'm giving it to her. But I won't let Maya grow up thinking this kind of behavior is normal or acceptable. You bastard, I whispered, tears streaming down my face. "You're really going to do this? You're going to take everything?" "I'm going to take care of my daughter. Everything else is just details." He stood up, gathering his papers. "Leo, you'll be served with the divorce petition Monday. I suggest you get a lawyer." "Tom, wait." But he was already walking toward the door, leaving me standing in his parents' living room with my world crashing down around me. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. This wasn't how any of this was supposed to go. As the door closed behind him, I realized that my one night of feeling alive might have cost me everything that actually mattered. Monday morning arrived like an executioner's blade. I'd spent the weekend in denial, convincing myself that Tom was bluffing, that he'd come home Sunday night ready to talk things through like rational adults. Instead, I'd woken up alone again, his side of the bed cold and untouched. I was in the middle of a particularly mind-numbing spreadsheet when Margaret's assistant appeared at my desk with an apologetic expression. "Leo, there's someone here to see you, says it's personal business." My stomach clenched as I followed her to the reception area, where a serious-looking woman in a navy suit waited with a manila envelope. "Leo Vane?" "Yes?" "You've been served." She handed me the envelope and walked away, leaving me standing in the lobby of my workplace, holding my divorce papers like a live grenade. The whispers started immediately. Everyone in the reception area had witnessed the exchange, and I could feel their eyes on me as I walked back to my desk on unsteady legs. My hands shook as I opened the envelope, scanning the legal language that spelled out the end of my marriage. Petition for dissolution of marriage. Irreconcilable differences. Request for primary physical custody of minor child. The words blurred together as tears filled my eyes. This was really happening. Tom wasn't bluffing or trying to scare me. He was actually divorcing me. "Leo," Sarah appeared beside my desk, her voice gentle. "Are you okay? You look like you've seen a ghost." "Tom's divorcing me," I whispered, the words feeling surreal as I spoke them. "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry, but maybe it's for the best? I mean, after everything that's happened..." I looked up sharply. "What do you mean, everything that's happened?" "It was one kiss, Sarah, one stupid kiss that everyone's blown completely out of proportion." Sarah's expression grew uncomfortable. "Leo, it's not just the kiss anymore. People are talking about your social media posts, the way you've been handling this whole situation. Some of the clients have been asking questions." "What kind of questions?" "About your judgment, about whether they want someone with your reputation handling their accounts." The humiliation burned through me like acid. My reputation, because I kissed someone at a club, because I defended myself when people attacked me online. "Because you're a married woman who's been publicly bragging about cheating on your husband," Sarah said bluntly. "I'm trying to be your friend here, Leo, but you need to understand how this looks to other people." I stared at her, seeing the judgment in her eyes that she was trying to hide behind concern. These people had known me for 4 years. They'd seen me work late, handle difficult clients, never miss a deadline. But one video had erased all of that, reducing me to a stereotype they could whisper about over coffee. "I need to make some phone calls," I said, my voice hollow. I spent my lunch break frantically searching for divorce attorneys, but the consultations were expensive and the earliest appointments were weeks away. Tom had clearly been planning this for longer than I'd realized. He'd had time to research lawyers, gather evidence, build a case while I'd been assuming we'd work things out. When I got home that evening, the house felt different, emptier. Tom's clothes were gone from our bedroom, his toiletries cleared from the bathroom. He'd moved out completely while I was at work, taking only his personal belongings, but leaving behind a silence that felt deafening. Maya was at his parents' house for dinner, another new routine that apparently hadn't required my input. I called Paula's house, but she answered with ice in her voice. "Leo, I suppose you want to speak to Maya." "She's my daughter, Paula. Of course I want to speak to her." "Tom's helping her with homework right now. Perhaps you could call back later." "I'm calling back now. Put my daughter on the phone." There was a long pause, Then Maya's sweet voice. "Mummy, Daddy said you and he are taking a break from living together." My heart shattered. That's right, baby, but it doesn't change how much Mommy and Daddy love you. Are you sad? You sound sad." "A little bit, sweetheart, but I'm going to be okay." "Are you having fun with Grandma and Grandpa?" "Yeah, but I miss you. When are you coming to get me?" I closed my eyes, not knowing how to answer. "Soon, baby. I love you so much." "I love you too, Mommy." Tom's voice came on the line. "Leo." "Tom, please, we need to talk about this. You can't just take Maya and—" "I'm not taking her. She's staying with my parents while we sort out temporary custody arrangements. My lawyer will be in touch with yours about scheduling." "I don't have a lawyer yet." "Then I suggest you get one quickly. This doesn't have to be ugly, Leo, but it's happening." The line went dead, leaving me alone in our empty house, with the divorce papers spread across the kitchen table. I tried to call my mother, but she was at her book club. I considered calling Jessica or Amanda, but realized I didn't want their advice anymore. Their encouragement had helped create this mess. Instead, I found myself scrolling through my phone, looking at the video that had started it all. Eli and I looked happy in those few seconds, carefree and alive. But watching it now, all I could see was the destruction it had caused. The comments underneath were still brutal, still growing. My bank notification chimed, and I opened the app to check my account. My heart stopped. The joint checking account showed a balance of $47.83. Tom had withdrawn everything except the minimum to keep it open. I called the bank, but they confirmed what I already knew. As joint account holders, either party could withdraw funds. Tom had cleaned out our savings, our emergency fund, everything. He'd left me with barely enough money for groceries. The reality of my situation crashed over me like a wave. No lawyer, no money, no husband, and potentially no custody of my daughter. All because I'd kissed a stranger and been too proud to apologize for it. I poured myself a glass of wine and sat in my empty house, staring at the divorce papers and wondering how one moment of feeling alive had led to losing everything that made life worth living. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Hey gorgeous, it's Eli from the club. Got your number from Jessica. Want to grab drinks sometime?" I stared at the message, then deleted it without responding. The irony was bitter. The excitement I'd been craving was finally being offered to me, just as I realized how much I'd sacrificed to get it. 2 months later, I sat in a sterile conference room across from Tom and his lawyer, my own hastily hired attorney, shuffling through papers beside me. The mediation was supposed to be civilized, but the evidence spread across the table told the story of my spectacular downfall in devastating detail. Let's review the timeline. Tom's lawyer, a sharp-eyed woman named Patricia Wells, began. On the night of March 15th, Mrs. Vane was captured on video engaging in intimate contact with a male who was not her husband. She slid the printed screenshots across the table, the video from multiple angles, time-stamped and clear as day. Eli's hands on my waist, my arms around his neck, our lips locked in what looked like passion, but now felt like evidence of my own stupidity. Following this incident, Patricia continued, Mrs. Vane showed no remorse, instead posting multiple social media updates defending her actions and attacking her husband's character. More screenshots, my Facebook posts about living my truth, my Instagram stories about controlling men, my Twitter rants about double standards. Taken together, they painted a picture of someone completely unrepentant about betraying her marriage. When confronted by Mr. Vane about the incident, Mrs. Vane's response was to tell him, and I quote, "If you don't like it, divorce me." I cringed hearing my own words thrown back at me. My lawyer, David Rodriguez, cleared his throat. My client was upset and spoke in anger. People say things they don't mean when emotions are high. Perhaps, Patricia replied smoothly, but Mrs. Vane's subsequent actions suggest these weren't just angry words. She continued to defend the incident publicly, refused to acknowledge any wrongdoing, and showed no concern for how her behavior affected her daughter. "That's not true," I interrupted, my voice cracking. "Everything I've done has been for Maya." Tom spoke for the first time, his voice quiet but firm. "Leo, you stayed out until 3 a.m. kissing another man, while our 6-year-old daughter cried herself to sleep because you weren't there to read her a bedtime story. How was that for Maya?" The accusation hit like a physical blow, because it was true. I had promised Maya I'd be home for stories, and I'd broken that promise for a night of feeling desired by a stranger. "Mr. Vane has provided evidence of Mrs. Vane's pattern of prioritizing her social life over her parental responsibilities," Patricia continued, spreading out more documents. "Late pickups from school, missed parent-teacher conferences, delegating childcare to others so she could attend social events." I stared at the evidence in horror. Tom had been documenting everything. Every time I'd asked him to handle Maya's bedtime because I was tired, every school event I'd skipped for work happy hours, every moment I'd chosen myself over my daughter. Individually, they seemed like normal parenting trade-offs. Together, they looked damning. "This is ridiculous," I said, desperation creeping into my voice. "I'm a good mother. Maya loves me." "No one's questioning your daughter's love for you," the mediator interjected, "but we need to determine what custody arrangement serves her best interests." Tom leaned forward, his eyes meeting mine for the first time in weeks. "Leo, I'm not trying to punish you, but Maya needs stability. She needs to know that her parents will put her first, always. Can you honestly say you've been doing that?" I wanted to argue, to fight back, but the evidence was overwhelming. The video, the posts, the financial records showing money spent on clothes, and nights out, while Maya needed new school shoes. The pattern was clear, even to me. "Mrs. Vane," the mediator said gently, "would you like to respond to these allegations?" I looked around the room at the faces staring back at me, Tom's sad but resolved expression, the lawyer's professional neutrality, the mediator's careful concern. These people were deciding my future, my access to my own daughter, based on one night of poor judgment and the pride that had kept me from admitting my mistake. My voice broke. "I made a mistake. I know that now. But I love Maya more than anything in this world. I would never do anything to hurt her." "Kissing another man in public while married to her father didn't hurt her?" Patricia asked. "She doesn't even know about that." "She will," Tom said quietly. "Kids at school are already talking. Their parents have seen the video. Maya's going to grow up knowing that her mother's infidelity was public entertainment for half the town. Leo realizes her viral cheating video will haunt her daughter Maya forever, and in mediation, Tom calmly offers primary custody for himself, generous visitation for her, no alimony, and therapy for everyone so Maya can adjust. Faced with overwhelming evidence and even her own lawyer saying it's a good deal, Leo signs away primary custody, knowing Tom could have taken far more, but chose instead to protect their daughter. Walking out as a newly single woman to a small apartment she can barely afford, she understands that one night of feeling desired cost her a marriage, her home, and daily life with her child. Tom wins, not by revenge, but by being the better parent and the better person, giving Maya stability while Leo is left with the hollow freedom she demanded and the lifelong consequences of choosing excitement over the people who loved her most.